Coming up on this edition of Chris 6 Sunrise, the White House says tensions in the Middle East caused President Trump to leave the G7 summit early. Scripps News Group Joe St. George has the latest on what this could mean for the U.S. Plus,
I'm Suzanne Stevens. We finally got some rain, so why are we still treading water? Tonight, the real reason why we're not in the clear just yet.
Padre Island got more than 3 inches of rain overnight. I'm Erin Holly on Padre Island, and I'll show you how Monday's storms affected island neighbors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Chris 6 Sunrise. Thank you so much for waking up with the Hoffmans. I'm Michelle Hoffman.
And I'm Brian Hoffman. What a difference a day could make, right, folks? That stormy weather we saw yesterday morning looks pretty nice out right now, if you ask me. And let's actually ask the expert. Hey, Steph, how you doing this morning?
Good morning. We're doing all right. Good to see you. We are looking at a much easier commute as you head out the door. No sideways rain, none of that action, no light show to greet you as you step outside. In fact, much more tranquil today. But we are going to still have some patchy fog, some haziness across certain commutes. So let's get you up and out the door with what's happening near the base here. 181 between Portland and downtown Corpus Christi, a smooth ride. Coming into downtown across 44 or down 37 is looking okay, as are all the major thoroughfares here in Corpus Christi proper. But once we get to the Bluff, that's where we have some trouble. The commute to NAS Corpus Christi has been a crawl all morning, so give yourself some extra time before you head out this way. Slow travels along NAS Drive, and some of these backups are impacting the ramp on SPID heading to NAS Corpus Christi, so give yourself some extra time there. The rest of the Bluff looks a-okay, and the ride out to the island does too. So as you head out, make sure you stay safe and you drive safe. How long will this dry weather stick around before we get more rain in the forecast? Because yes, there is some more on the way. I'll be breaking it down for you in your Weather on the Sixes in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Steph. All right, folks, we're going to get to your neighbor news in just a little bit, but first we have some national headlines to get to. President Donald Trump made an early departure last night from the G7 summit, with officials citing ongoing tensions in the Middle East, forcing him back to Washington. The summit was originally supposed to last through today. The president chose to leave as he says he's trying to find a diplomatic solution to the current crisis between Israel and Iran. He has urged Iran to come to the negotiating table and strike a deal over its nuclear program. Scripps News Group Joe St. George joins us at 6:10 with the latest.
Senate Republicans are proposing key changes to President Donald Trump's agenda bill. Now, the Senate Finance Committee released the proposal yesterday. The bill locks in Trump-era tax cuts and calls for sweeping cuts to Medicaid and taxes. It will lower the cap on state and local tax deductions, limit provider taxes, and require more parents receiving Medicaid to work. The bill would make several business tax breaks and the expanded child tax credit permanent. It would also raise the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. Now, Senate committees are rushing to finalize their versions and deliver a final deal to the president by July 4th.
Well, the date is set for the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the New Harbor Bridge. It will be Saturday, June 28th. That's according to Senate Representative Todd Hunter. Now, Hunter tells Chris 6 that he's been in talks with TxDOT, the official owners of the bridge, and they confirmed that the date of the ceremony will be held then. It'll also be held at 10 a.m. at the top of the bridge. The ribbon cutting was originally set for last month, but postponed because unexpected construction delays in the bridge. The New Harbor Bridge was originally supposed to have opened up 5 years ago, back in 2020.
I'm Senior Neighborhood News reporter Suzanne Stevens. So we got some rain, and it was almost enough to fill Lake Texana. But Lake Corpus Christi and Choke Canyon are still dangerously low. So how much more water do we need, and how much longer can the city wait?
In the last 10 days, South Texas got drenched, especially near Victoria, where more than 10 inches of rain helped fill Lake Texana. Corpus Christi saw heavy rain too, but the areas that matter most mostly missed out.
All that rain that fell directly on top of Choke Canyon, Lake Corpus Christi is great, but since we're not seeing any in the watershed, a lot of missed opportunities with the heavy rainfall that fell instead around Baffin Bay.
So yes, we're finally seeing the water rise, but until it rises in the right places, Corpus Christi is still under. At the Bayfront, I'm Senior Neighborhood News reporter Suzanne Stevens, Chris 6 News.
Island neighbors are used to the sound of pounding surf, but Monday morning, it was the sound of pounding rain that woke them up. I'm Erin Holly, your Padre Island neighborhood news reporter, and I went out to the island to check it out myself. I saw flooding and debris from trees. That's Brad Callender. He owns BC Bucket Services tree trimming service. On days like Monday, his business is booming. That's why Callender says you should make sure your trees are trimmed and secured during hurricane season. While Brad was busy at work today, other island neighbors weren't so lucky with business. Owner of Third Coast Nutrition, Tony Mayfield, tells me she normally sees 50 customers in a day. But as for Brad, he's ready for the rest of storm season.
And as you can see, folks, your neighborhood news reporters want to make sure they're covering stories that matter to you. And that's why we will be hosting listening tours in every neighborhood. Neighborhood news reporter Erin Holly will start us off at the Cabana Pantry on South Padre Island Drive this Thursday. And she wants to hear what's most important to our neighbors so we can cover those stories for you. The listening tour will take place from 9 till 11 in the morning.
Happy Taco Tuesday. We're looking at a warm one here across the coastal bend. A much different scene as you head up and out the door. Very warm temperatures, in fact, along our coast. That's where we find this outline of orange for coastal neighbors, and it's because there's a big difference in not only in the actual air temperature, but in how it feels for those neighbors. So have the wide view for yourself. If you are in one of our coastal neighborhoods, we are looking at temps in the lower 80s. 81 for Ingleside, 82 for Port A, 80 degrees at NAS Corpus Christi, and we're missing that reading now from Rockport. But look at the number in yellow. That's the feels like temperature, or the heat index. That's what it feels like to your body, your perceived temperature, when you factor in that humidity. So while there's only a 5-degree difference between what's happening out in the bluff and at the airport, it feels quite different, about 11 degrees difference in that feels like temperature overall. But once you get away from the water, we're a little more true to temperature, and we're feeling mild in those middle 70s to start. However, going through today, we're definitely going to feel that heat cooking on. It's not the hottest weather we've seen all through June, but it is going to be a return to the heat. Don't become complacent. Make sure you're staying cool, because these dew point temperatures are off to an oppressively muggy start, and they look pretty close to the actual temperature, which means this morning we use the word saturated. We have saturated the atmosphere with water at about the max capacity for how much water our air can hold. And that's why it feels like air you can wear when you step outside. Now, as we go through today, we're going to feel that humidity make those 90s feel about 10 degrees hotter. So prepare for that quick warm up this morning, getting to around 90 degrees at lunchtime. More sunshine than clouds, but you will see a few of the clouds out there, especially during the late morning hours. Those clear out during the late afternoon. So very nice golden hour here as we say goodnight to the sun. Temperatures begin to fall back down through those upper 80s for another gradual decrease down to the 80s to start. Now, heat risk is something we'll be talking about not only today, but also into tomorrow, where most of the coastal bend, if not all, will be at least a 2 out of 4 moderate heat risk. Some places feeling more of that heat. So you want to transition that mindset to heat for today and tomorrow, but the rain is not far away. In fact, looking at the big weather picture, no weather systems to come here. We're transitioning to that summer period, so we're not going to be hoping on cold fronts to bring us rainfall. Instead, some tropical moisture. So here's that first wrinkle of trouble moving away from us that caused yesterday's weather, but we're looking at some rainfall coming back to the mix and looking to stick around for a couple of days. So on Thursday, we'll get an update on our drought monitor, but a little bit of hope and taking away color from this map is ahead.
President Trump leaves the G7 summit early as tensions continue to grow in the Middle East. Coming up, we'll check in with Scripps News Group Joe St. George and find out if there are any chances that the U.S. will get involved. Welcome back, folks. So President Donald Trump made an early departure last night from the G7 summit, citing ongoing tensions in the Middle East, forcing him back to Washington.
To talk more about this, we turn it over to Scripps News Group Deputy Political Director Joe St. George, who joins us live now this morning. Good morning, Joe. So what are the chances that the U.S. gets involved in the conflict?
Well, look, I mean, at the outset, we should say what the Pentagon has said, and that is that the American military force, troops in the region, remain in a defensive posture. That's per a Pentagon spokesman. And that's noteworthy because that tells you that, yes, the military is there, but they're there to respond should something happen to American assets, an Iranian strike on a base, for instance, somewhere in the Middle East. But as President Trump said aboard Air Force One last night, the Iranians know not to hit American targets because the gloves would be off at that point. That being said, of course, that's an option on the president's toolbox. Option one is diplomacy. Option two is involvement. There is, I guess, an option three, which is just kind of sit on the sidelines and let Israel and Iran duke it out. The president did say something very ominous before he left Canada early from the G7. The president posted on social media around 6:30 last night, Iran should have signed the deal. I told them to sign. What a shame and waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. And it's that last phrase, everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran, the capital of Iran, the city of nearly 10 million people. A dramatic statement for any American president to make, and raises questions about what does President Trump know about what may be next. This is day 5 now of this latest conflict between Israel and Iran. It was another night of fighting, both sides striking targets. Israel is claiming the death of another senior Iranian military leader. The president told reporters just a few hours ago, again, it was an early morning arrival at the White House. In fact, I popped past his motorcade coming into the Capitol this morning. The president said that he's seeking a real end to what's going on in Iran, not just a ceasefire, a real end. What that means is open to interpretation, but obviously this is the biggest story on planet Earth this morning. There is here on Capitol Hill a growing sense of escalation. A number of Democratic lawmakers are set to introduce resolutions today preventing a war with Iran, but that's not expected to go anywhere in a Republican-controlled House and Senate. Guys, we'll watch this throughout the day. Obviously, this is a developing story.
Yeah, such a serious matter, too. Thank you so much for the information, Joe.
Yeah, definitely appreciate your insights, sir. Looking forward to talking again soon.
Okay, time for your weather on the 6s, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about in the forecast. We're looking at a much more tranquil start to the day. In fact, a beautiful start. Look at golden hour over downtown Corpus Christi, a silhouette of the sparkling city by the sea with those tones of blue, orange, and yellow in the sky. Yep, looking beautiful this Tuesday morning. So what can you expect when you step out the door in your neighborhood? Well, warmth. We're seeing the return of dry and warm conditions that'll feel quite hot as we head into the afternoon, but also some hazy spots, reduced visibility in neighborhoods like Beeville, as well as Alice, who commutes along 281, 181 for inland locations, going to be a bit hazy to start. But we've got a breeze along the coast, and that's keeping not only the visibility up, it is probably offering a little bit of relief for those very warm conditions, feeling like the 90s in some neighborhoods out there. But what's your out the door forecast looking like? Well, we're going to say goodbye to the opportunity for rainfall, and we're looking at a warmer start as we head into the afternoon. So our focus once again turns to heat. Couple of recommendations I've got for you here. Slow down today. I know we're probably making up for lost time yesterday, but it's going to be a hot one. So give yourself a moment to kind of adjust to that. Avoid strenuous activity. Stay hydrated and avoid desiccants. Caffeine, alcohol, they work to dehydrate you. So for every one of those adult beverages, you have to add a glass of water to make up for that. Take frequent breaks if you're working outside. A lot of people work in outdoor industries. We have a lot of construction happening. So hop in the car, run the AC in the work truck for a little bit, keep cool. And then, of course, eating small meals more often can help your body adjust to the heat. And drinking plenty of water, that helps too. Make sure your pets also have a place to stay cool. Check in on kids, pets, and the elderly. They're more susceptible to heat-related illness. And while this certainly isn't the hottest weather we felt all June, it is the return to the heat, so we don't want to become complacent. But the rain isn't far away from returning either, especially as Friday arrives. We're looking at our best chance of rainfall, but we'll have daily rain chances, at least isolated in fashion, as we head into the beginning of next week. The 6 to 10 day outlook, this is more of an idea, more so than a forecast, because of the extended nature of it from the 23rd to 27th, the end of this month. Looks like we could be looking at a higher probability of seeing a wetter forecast than we typically do for the same time range. And that's something much of the central U.S. could be looking forward to. Helps a lot when we've been this dry. So for our neighbors in Rockport and Kingsville, here's how the rain chances are looking more so likely in your neighborhood. Still going to keep things hot because we're not looking at gully washer like what we had yesterday. But for that 7-day forecast here in Corpus Christi, we're keeping those daily rain chances in the mix, which will help to keep those average temperatures top of mind through the next week.
Alrighty, Steph, thank you so much. So the Department of Veterans Affairs is calling out The Guardian. Coming up after the break, what the well-known British news outlet is saying that caused a lot of concern for veterans.
This is Veterans in Focus, sponsored by the Heil Law Firm, battling for justice, winning for the community.
I was getting a lot of messages about this last night. The Department of Veterans Affairs is pushing back on claims that it's allowing discrimination.
The VA is calling out The Guardian, saying the well-known British news outlet is spreading disinformation. The Guardian just published a story claiming VA doctors can now refuse treatment based on a patient's political beliefs or marital status. VA Secretary Doug Collins responded on X, though, calling the article false and ridiculous. He also said, quote, all eligible veterans will always be welcome at VA and receive the benefits and services they've earned under the law, end quote. So you might ask where all this controversy is coming from. Well, the VA recently updated its rules to match an executive order from the Trump administration. As part of that update, it removed specific language that used to protect veterans from discrimination based on their political views or whether they're married. Now, keep in mind, folks, the new policy does not say care can be denied for those reasons, but critics say that taking out those protections makes it harder to know how the VA would handle situations where bias is suspected. The VA still insists nothing has changed in how care is delivered.
But if you're a veteran and feel like your care has been affected by this, we want to hear from you. I've also reached out to a VA representative in our region, and we'll have an update for you when I hear back.
All right, that morning commute is a lot friendlier today. This is the view from the First Community Bank camera showing you what golden hour looks like when we don't have rain here across the coastal bend. Still some clouds out there this morning, but we'll see more sunshine before it's all said and done. And we see now sunshine in terms of traffic along 181. No slowdowns to report. However, not all commutes look that good. Coming in from the island, a little stop and go from Park Road 22 turning on to 361 this morning, so expect that. But we've seen major slowdowns approaching NAS Corpus Christi this morning. Still a crawl along NAS Drive. Give yourself some extra time this morning if you're headed this way. The rest of the bluff is rolling smoothly on Waldron Road and Flower Bluff Drive. As we come on into Corpus Christi proper, a smooth ride from the south side up to the Bay Area, but starting to see those slowdowns now on the Crosstown interchange to 37. And we really start to get sluggish when we get to 37. So you might want to exit near Morgan or perhaps Baldwin and take Staples on into downtown to catch 181 or 37. As you head out, make sure you stay safe and you drive safe. That's a look at your traffic report. Your weather on the 6s is coming up.
Snakes at school sounds like the next horror movie, but it's a real issue here at Three Rivers ISD. I'm Melissa Trevino, and I'll share the encounters students and staff have had with these slithering creatures.
Now, weather on the 6s.
Hey there, good morning. We've got a view over the sparkling city by the sea. Looking beautiful here over downtown Corpus Christi, if not a little bit hazy. That's about all we've got for the start of our day here to really talk about. No sideways rain to interrupt the commute this morning. In fact, we're just feeling the impacts of that haziness and mugginess. Air you can wear, definitely the star of our forecast for today. But don't worry, plenty of sunshine. So if you need to do some cleaning up, maybe empty some standing water on your property, today is going to be the day to do it. However, you might want to do it at a certain time because the heat is returning to our focus in the forecast. Beautiful golden hour from this view over downtown Corpus Christi as well. Silhouette of the sparkling city by the sea looks great here too. Have the wide view for yourself. Let's talk about what we can observe from here. There are some clouds off in the distance. That's the texture you see there across the bay on the horizon. So while those clouds are to our north or in the east, that's what we're saying goodbye to. The storminess from yesterday, a wrinkle of low pressure off our coast. We, however, are going to be looking at a much drier forecast. However, if you're heading out the door along 281 or 181, you can expect a little bit of that haze and fog to find you there along the commute. Warmer temperatures along the coast too, where we've got 82 for the temperature in Port Aransas this morning. You can already add about 8 to 10 degrees to the coastal temperatures to get that feels like temperature, whereas the middle 70s are true to temperature for inland locations. We are all going to be feeling the heat as we get into the afternoon. Look at how quickly we climb that thermometer. We're going to be seeing temperatures peaking in those middle 90s for a lot of neighborhoods with ample humidity, very plentiful in nature. We are going to feel like the triple digits, 106 by 3 p.m. here in Corpus Christi, a lot of other neighborhoods feeling about the same, with the brush country getting the closest in those middle to upper 100s, but I don't think we'll see any heat advisories issued for today. Obviously, this is not the hottest weather that we've seen in all of May and June. However, after a rainy pattern, we're going back to the heat, so don't be complacent. A couple of tips: slow down, avoid strenuous activity. I know a lot of folks are going to be making up for lost time yesterday, but please be careful when doing so. Stay hydrated, avoid caffeine or alcohol. It's Tuesday, aka Second Monday, so if you need an extra large coffee today, pair that with an extra large water, because caffeine and alcohol are desiccants. They work to dehydrate you. Take frequent breaks if you're working outside. If you work in landscaping, construction, roofing, hop in the work truck. Run the AC for a little bit and stay cool. You can eat small meals more often to help your body cope with the heat, and make sure you give plenty of rest and water, a place to cool off for your four-legged friends too. Kids, pets, and the elderly are more susceptible to heat-related illness, and that heat risk is going to be on the up and up from today on into tomorrow. Beyond that, rain chances will return. I think for Juneteenth, we're going to be okay for any celebrations that'll be happening. Those rain chances look better for the evening time frame, and then eventually peaking on Friday for those scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder. Now, we're tracking a batch of tropical moisture, plentiful moisture, moving to the coastal belt. So our rain chances don't look quite as good in the extended forecast. However, daily rain chances, yep, we still got them. And the probability for the rest of this month is that we will see wetter weather than we typically do for this time of the year. So all things pointing that we will continue to chip away at the drought as we wrap up the rest of June.
Well, sometimes returning from a vacation is the hardest part. Coming up on Sunrise, we'll have the best ways to beat the post-vacation blues.
Now, say hello to your neighbors. This is your Chris 6 News Sunrise Shoutouts.
Hello, KRS Sunrise team. We are the Lipan Apache Tribe of Texas in downtown. We want to wish our neighbors in the coastal bend a great morning. Good morning, Sunrise team.
Hey, good morning to our neighbors from the Lipan Apache Tribe of Texas. We hope you guys have a wonderful day. And folks, if you want to send us your own shout out video, just scan the QR code on your screen or go to our website, christv.com.
Well, it's a time of year where many families take a little break, maybe get away and go on that vacation that they've been planning. But when that trip ends, returning to reality can be hard. Ask Michelle and I. It's our first week back. So in today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on how to beat that post-vacation blues.
Taking a break can be relaxing and rejuvenating, but the end of vacation can bring on the blues.
We might be having a great time, and then we come back to reality, and then, we're back to the grind.
Psychologist Rachel Gableman with the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center says there can be a sadness as you return to a regular routine. You may be faced with loads of laundry or stacks of work and feel like there's no longer a trip to look forward to.
It can just feel like, oh, why did I bother maybe taking that vacation? At all.
But Gableman says taking time off is good for our well-being, and you can beat the post-vacation blues by setting yourself up for success before you leave. Clean your house, stock your freezer and pantry so you don't have to clean and shop for groceries as soon as you return from vacation. When planning your trip, set aside a day when you get back so that you can reset before returning to work. And while you're on that trip, live in the moment. Let let yourself enjoy the time you do have off instead of thinking about having to go back home. Finally, when you do go back home, she says start planning your next vacation, even if it's just a staycation or weekend getaway.
We as humans really like to look forward to things. It is something that, might reduce our stress and help us to keep going.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
All right, good morning to you. Happy Tuesday. Finally, the rain's gone, so I know there's a lot of four-legged friends that are very happy about that. Shadow here has a good tip for you. You might want to wear your hater blockers today because the sun's coming back out. Very few clouds as we go on into the afternoon as well, but that also means the heat is going to be coming back. So temperatures on a quick climb to about 90 degrees by lunchtime, and this is the cloudiest part of the day, the morning. So as we head into the afternoon, uninterrupted sunshine will make it feel extra hot in comparison to how the humidity is going to have a vice grip on our afternoon. All that adding up to feels like temperatures in the middle 100s, 106 here in Corpus Christi by about 3 p.m. So perhaps more frequent but smaller, shorter walks might actually help to keep your pup cool. Remember, kids, pets, and the elderly more susceptible to heat-related illness. But it's just today and tomorrow we're going to start focusing more on rain chances as we head on toward the tail end of the week. And some good news. Looks like the end of June, the next 6 to 10 days could also offer us a little more rainfall than we typically see. So that's good news. Hopefully we can start chipping away even more at our drought.
From Chris 6, this is 20 minutes of non-stop news.
Welcome back, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in for our 20 minutes of nonstop news with the Hoffmans. I'm Brian Hoffman.
And I'm Michelle Hoffman. We'll check in with meteorologist Stephanie Lauber in just a bit. But first, here's your neighborhood check-in.
I'm Senior Neighborhood News reporter Suzanne Stevens. So we got some rain, and it was almost enough to fill Lake Texana. But Lake Corpus Christi and Choke Canyon are still dangerously low. So how much more water do we need, and how much longer can the city wait?
In the last 10 days, South Texas got drenched, especially near Victoria, where more than 10 inches of rain helped fill Lake Texana. Corpus Christi saw heavy rain too, but the areas that matter most mostly missed out.
All that rain that fell directly on top of Choke Canyon, Lake Corpus Christi is great, but since we're not seeing any in the watershed, a lot of missed opportunities with the heavy rainfall that fell instead around Baffin Bay.
So yes, we're finally seeing the water rise, but until it rises in the right places, Corpus Christi is still under. At the Bayfront, I'm Senior Neighborhood News reporter Suzanne Stevens, Chris 6 News.
Island neighbors are used to the sound of pounding surf, but Monday morning, it was the sound of pounding rain that woke them up. I'm Erin Holly, your Padre Island Neighborhood News reporter, and I went out to the island to check it out myself. I saw flooding and debris from trees. That's Brad Callender. He owns BC Bucket Services tree trimming service. On days like Monday, his business is booming. That's why Callender says you should make sure your trees are trimmed and secure during hurricane season. While Brad was busy at work today, other island neighbors weren't so lucky with business. Owner of Third Coast Nutrition, Tony Mayfield, tells me she normally sees 50 customers in a day. But as for Brad, he's ready for the rest of storm season.
Rivera neighbors like Danny Carlson are dealing with the overflowing waters from the rain. The rain flooding yards and roadways just like the River Beach Park is much needed rain, according to Clayburgh County Precinct 3 Commissioner Jerry Martinez. So, what are neighbors' thoughts on the rain? Carlson says it can be challenging at times, but the majority of Rivera welcomes the liquid gold to the area, hoping to see the benefits it will bring.
I'm your neighborhood news reporter, Adam Beam. On Monday, the city of Aransas Pass revealed that over the past 3 years, they have failed to meet a requirement for that water. The question is, are neighbors at risk?
It gets very scary, and you start, you know what, something's wrong. Should I not be drinking water? But the thing is that right now our water is safe to drink.
Public Works Director David Flores Jr. wants to assure residents their water is safe. City leaders announced Monday they had missed the deadline to submit their lead service line inventory. According to Flores, the notice from TCEQ was due to a missed deadline. Public Works and the city want to assure residents they have completed half of their inventory thus far prior to the missed deadline. And once all remaining lead pipes have been identified, replacing them will be the next step.
All right, getting that Tuesday morning commute going. We are looking at a hazy view from SPID. Not looking too bad when we compare this to yesterday. Sideways rain, a lightning show, all of that much more tranquil for the start of today. So if you are heading up and out the door, maybe you're starting out along the island, here's what you're looking for. We have got a good commute for you along Park Road 22, 361. It's getting to the bluff that's a bit tricky this morning if you're going to NAS Corpus Christi in particular. It's been a crawl throughout Chris 6 Sunrise, so give yourself some extra time if you're headed here. It is a slow one, and you'll want to give yourself enough time to make up for that so you're not late. We're looking good on Waldron Road, the usual stop and go near Flower Bluff ISD. Flower Bluff Drive, uneventful from the base side down to the south side. We're looking good on all the major thoroughfares, but another trouble spot has been on this crosstown interchange to 37. Things are looking pretty slow, so you might want to get off at Baldwin and take Staples into downtown. That way you can catch 37 or 181. As you head out, make sure you stay safe and you drive safe. Your weather on the 6s is ahead.
Now, 6 things to know before you go.
All right, folks, now on to the 6 things you need to know before heading out the door.
Yes, President Donald Trump made an early departure last night from the G7 summit, with officials citing ongoing tension in the Middle East, forcing him back to Washington. Now, the summit was originally supposed to last through today, and the president chose to leave as he says he's trying to find a diplomatic solution to the current crisis between Israel and Iran. The president has urged Iran to come to the negotiating table and strike a deal over its nuclear program.
Well, Senate Republicans are proposing key changes to President Donald Trump's agenda bill, or the Big Beautiful Bill as so called. The Senate Finance Committee released the proposal Monday. The bill locks in Trump-era tax credits, and cuts, and calls for sweeping cuts to Medicaid and some taxes, especially those at the upper tax brackets. It would also raise the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. Senate committees are rushing to finalize their versions and deliver a final deal to President Trump by July 4th.
The Federal Reserve will kick off 2 days of meetings today where it will discuss the state of the economy. After the meetings, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is expected to announce an interest rate decision. Now, the Fed has not cut rates since 6 months amid economic uncertainty.
Well, the date is set for the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the New Harbor Bridge. It will be Saturday, June 28th at 10 a.m. at the top of the New Harbor Bridge. That's according to State Representative Todd Hunter. Hunter tells Chris 6 that he's been in talks with TxDOT, and they confirmed the date of the ceremony. The ribbon cutting was originally set for last month, but was postponed due to unexpected construction delays. The New Harbor Bridge was originally supposed to be opened 2020. That's 5 years ago.
Corpus Christi City Council is expected to vote today on a motion to install 26 new LED lights at Swatner Park. Now, the price tag for the Swatner Park lighting project is nearly $76,000, and the project would improve nighttime visibility and safety along the park seawall. If the funding is approved, installation of the lights would begin later this month and be completed by September. Now, the Corpus Christi Nueces County Public Health Department, along with the Parks and Recreation, are offering free swimming lessons for kids age 3 to 17. In order to enroll, you must first attend a registration event, and there will be one today at 4 p.m. For more information, call 361-826-7200.
Hey there, good morning to you. A gorgeous view here over Corpus Christi, and golden hour looks great for a lot of our neighborhoods. It definitely looks better than yesterday where we had a stormy start. Take the wide view for yourself. Wonderful, wonderful view from the WADA Skycam. WADA view as the sun rises here over the Old Harbor Bridge, and soon it'll be a metaphorical sunset for the bridge with that ceremony just a week from this Saturday. But as the birds look for breakfast, maybe you are too. When you step out the door to do so, though, it is going to be a warm, humid hug from the atmosphere around us. Temperatures are warm along the coast in those lower 80s. Inland neighborhoods, we're facing a little bit of those visibility restrictions in places like Beeville, down to 2 miles of visibility and just under 5 miles visibility in Alice along 281 there. Heiferville, 7 miles, not too bad, but not quite as warm there, hanging out in those middle 70s. But let's take a closer look with the Chris 6 Neighborhood Weather Network. We were missing our reading from the official reporting station in Rockport, but thanks to the Chris 6 Neighborhood Weather Network, we can see from our Tempest weather stations. Folks who have those out there share their data with us. So looks to be at about 81 degrees off South Terry Street in our Fusion reporting station there. And jumping over to to Beeville. Look at the contrast here. 74 off Hilltop Road, 75 from the Beeville reporting station, and 76 from FM 504. So a cooler start, but cool seems like the wrong word to use because it is going to be feeling very hot today. In fact, our dog walking forecast star, Shadow, has some good advice. Get those sunglasses ready to go. Lots of sunshine in store for us today, and that means the heat returns. Temperatures will reach about 90 degrees by lunchtime. Enough of a breeze around to keep things maybe a little more comfortable, but that southeast wind is going to bring in warmth and humidity, and the humidity definitely makes things feel a lot more suffocating out there with 106 for that feels like temperature around 3 p.m. So stay cool out there, but it's really a focus for today and tomorrow. Thursday is when our rain chances start to move back in. I think we'll be okay for the Juneteenth celebrations, but Friday looks like an opportunity for widely scattered showers and thunderstorms, and we'll keep daily rain chances into the mix. Some other good news as we go through the end of the month. Some of this climatology is saying that we're probably going to be looking at a wetter end to the month here than we typically do for the same time frame. So some good news there as we look at the 7-day forecast. Are we going to be looking at any more warmth that takes us several degrees above average? Probably not. We're looking at an end of the month that is going to keep us near 90. Our average temperature this time of the year is about 92 degrees, so very warm, and those rain chances will be very, very much welcome, especially if we can start to chip away at that drought. Our next update will be on Thursday, of course, and we'll bring you the latest. I'm excited for this one because I think it's going to take into account some of the rainfall that we had on Monday and hopefully chip away at some of the color on our drought monitor map.
Alrighty, Steph, thank you so much. So the Gulf Coast Humane Society will be hosting a mobile pet food distribution this week. It will take place Friday from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Coastal Bend Food Bank. Food for dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens will be available while supplies last, max of 4 pets per household, and make sure you leave your pets at home. The Coastal Bend Food Bank is located at 5442 Bear Lane.
Well, we've got some important information for pet owners in Robstown. It's about 2 viruses that may be spreading among cats and dogs in the city. Robstown Animal Control tells Neighbor News reporter Stephanie Molina that they are seeing a surge in possible parvoviruses and distemper in those animals. They've had 6 cases over the past 2 weeks that show symptoms of parvo and distemper, but the cases have not yet been confirmed. So what are the symptoms?
Lethargic, the vomiting, the bloody diarrhea, the loss of appetite, their behavior from one moment, they can be extremely exciting and then they are just stagnant.
The Robstown Animal Control recommends taking your pet for vaccines as soon as possible.
I'm Melissa Trevino, your neighborhood news reporter. Students and staff at Three Rivers ISD have had a snake problem. From the elementary campus to teacher housing, these slithering creatures have been all over. One school employee even has the proof on his arm.
Es que todo pasa muy rápido.
For the last 5 months, Humberto Arisu says 12 rattlesnakes have made their way onto the district grounds, hiding in various places. Arisu recently learned about one of those hiding places the hard way when he went to repair a water leak at one of the teachers' housing units. Putting his hand in the water meter, Arisu says, led to the discovery.
Cuando regresé para atrás, cerré la válvula y cuando saqué la mano, me pescó una víbora. Se me pescó. Moví la mano, se cayó para abajo y se escuchó el cascabel.
He says he looked inside the water meter before putting his hand, but still didn't see the snake.
Es cuando saqué la mano que ya la había cerrado, saltó la víbora, estaba adentro.
Arisu tells me people call the maintenance department about snakes more than you might think. Employees often find them, he says, in all kinds of places, like near the front of the elementary school, on the playground, around the high school campus, and even the athletic fields. He worries about student safety, and so do students like Kendra Pond and Emery Guajardo.
I would run away first, and then I'll tell my mom or a coach.
Focused on athletics and summer programs, the girls say they never imagined seeing snakes.
I really thought it's school, it should be safe, but I know they're kind of everywhere, so it kind of makes me more aware of my surroundings, the ground more.
Superintendent Les Dragon says they are reaching out to snake experts and brainstorming how they can end this nightmare. In Three Rivers, I'm Melissa Trevino, your neighborhood news reporter, Chris 6 News.
Now keep in mind, folks, venomous snake bites can be fatal if left untreated. Victims need to get medical attention within half an hour of the bite. The bites can lead to organ failure and death in 2 days to 3 days. Rattlesnake venom can also damage tissue and affect the circulatory system. Now here are some things you shouldn't do. Don't raise the area above the level of the heart. This spreads the venom faster. Don't wash the wound. Medics may be able to find venom that can help identify what type of antivenom to give you. Don't cut the wound. That can lead to infection. Don't use a tourniquet or ice. And lastly, do not suck the venom from the wound. The superintendent did reach out to Melissa about this story. So if you have any story ideas or concerns from the Jim Wells, Duval, or Live Oak counties, you can let Melissa know by scanning the QR code on your screen and sending her your info.
Oh, no, what's trending now? An Italian museum's worst nightmare happened after a valuable piece of artwork was seriously damaged. Palazzo Amalfi in Verona released this video after a tourist broke a crystal-covered chair back in April. You can see a man and a woman taking pictures in the front of the exhibit. Once the man sat down, though, in that chair, the seat and the front legs broke. The pair then hurried out of the room. The artwork was inspired by one of Vincent van Gogh's most famous paintings. Luckily, the museum was able to fix the delicate design. I mean, I kind of feel for the guy. It did kind of just look like a chair.
It did.
When you're out there, going around museums in Italy, it can get tiring. There's really no places to sit down. Yeah.
You're giving him a lot of leeway
Poor
here,
guy.
Brian. You're giving him a lot of leeway.
I know, because I feel like I could have easily made that mistake in Italy.
Everyone who is a parent they were watching this video saying, I told you. That's why you don't do it. Don't touch. Look with your eyes, not your hands. In this case, don't sit on the exhibit.
It reminds me of like a food exhibit where somebody ate the art, and because it looked like food.
I'm surprised that didn't happen to the banana taped to the wall.
I think it was it wasn't that one, but yeah, something like that.
$6 million banana. Yes. Well, art is beautiful, maybe even in pieces. I'm glad they were able to make some fixes, though. We are the sparkling city by the sea here, and boy, are we a sparkling without the help of Swarovski crystals, because this golden hour is just spectacular. Taking the view from the What a Sky Cam, that's why we call it What a Sky Cam, because what a view we tend to get from it. Both harbor bridges, old and new, looking great out here, and just a few clouds off along the horizon. So what is in store for us on this Taco Tuesday? A lot of heat. So we're looking at 80s along the coast that feel more like 90s, 89 in Port A, 86 in the Bluff at NAS Corpus Christi, and 81 in Ingleside. We're missing that reading in Rockport, but our neighborhood weather network shows us temps there also around 81 degrees. We drop off to the 70s for other inland locations, and we're more true to temperature, but this afternoon, not the case. It's looking to be a hot one. So take a page out of our dog walking forecast stars book. Shadow has these really cool glasses on. Find your favorite pair too, because sunshine is returning in a big way today. Not only right now, but uninterrupted sunshine as we head on into the afternoon. But you know that means that it comes with some heat, because it's June in South Texas. It's going to be a hot one. Temperatures getting to around 90 degrees at lunchtime, and we'll say goodbye to the clouds for the second half of the day and hello to the oppressive humidity. Feels like temperatures are going to be in those triple digits as soon as the late morning hours, and then as we get on into the heart of the afternoon, 106 by 3 p.m. We kind of stay in those middle 100s for feels like temperatures throughout a good chunk of the afternoon. It's not until this evening that we finally start to break shy of the triple digits, feeling like 99 degrees at 6 p.m., 10 degrees hotter than the actual air temperature at that point. So heat risk, of course, top of mind today. It's not the hottest weather we've seen all month, but it's the return to heat after what was a pretty soggy day yesterday. We don't want you to be complacent. Make sure you're taking those heat safety tips into consideration as people try to make up for lost time on Monday. On the second Monday, we're really going to be turning up that heat risk tomorrow. Moderate, a minimum for all neighborhoods here in the Coastal Bend. That's a 2 out of 4 heat risk. So as we go on into Thursday, we actually see things improve because rain chances will be coming back to the mix. Not the way we saw it yesterday, but we'll be facing daily rain chances once we wrap up this week and head on into the weekend, and even to start next week. Our next best chance of rain looks to be widely scattered showers on Friday. Those could perk up as early as late Thursday. So again, I think we're okay for Juneteenth celebrations, but the first day of summer may bring us another round of rain. We'll keep daily rain chances in the mix into next week, and the extended outlook, the probability of seeing wetter than normal days toward the end of June, it's looking pretty good for us here in South Texas, something I'll be keeping an eye on, because the more repetitive rain events we get, the better chance we'll have at chipping away at not only our drought, but also the water woes that we have out in the watershed. So some good news on the horizon. Here's a look at the next 7 days. Temperatures are going to be feeling hot today and tomorrow, middle 90s, but with clouds and rain returning to the forecast, we'll have a little bit of a cool down as we kick off the first few days of summer. Kind of ironic there.
Goodness.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, hey, thank you so much, Steph. And thank you for tuning in. We really do appreciate y'all. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your Taco Tuesday, everyone.
Yeah, we'll see you guys at noon.
Bye.